All right, let's have a look at the third passage, questions 9 to 12. So this is about marshlands and marsh birds particularly, right? It talks about how coastal wetlands, they harbor fish, shellfish, and wading birds, right? And then we discuss more about these birds, how these birds are difficult to spot and therefore they're easier to hear because they're hiding in dense grasses. So what people who are researching on them, what they do is they actually use this callback survey to monitor them. So they play a pre-recorded set of calls and then see whether a bird responds to them or not. And then when the bird responds, they see from where this sound is coming, from what kind of ecosystem, and it measures various characteristics of the birds based on this. Right. Then we talk about a particular kind of bird, clapper rails, right? A particular kind of marsh birds, clapper rails. We describe them in the passage. Then we talk about where they typically live. They typically live in tidal marshes where there is vegetation to hide in. We also discuss how how they prey on their food there, how they survive whenever there is, let's say, some flooding, how they protect themselves from predators, what do they do when a storm comes, right? So we discuss all these factors in this passage. So an easy read, not a difficult read. Let's have a look at the questions. Question 10. None of the following views is expressed in the passage except that. So basically we have to say which of the following views is expressed in the passage. This is what we have to see. Clapper rails migrate every year from the Atlantic and Gulf coasts. We'll check this. I remember this, something about this was mentioned in the passage. B. Water levels in tidal marshes change only when there are storms. So we'll see where tidal marshes have been introduced, okay, or where they have been discussed. The population growth of marsh birds has been observed. So in the beginning, we talk about observing a number of things about these marsh birds. We'll see if population growth is one of those things. Clapper rails build nests in tall vegetation, primarily to protect them from flooding. So we will particularly see the paragraph that talks about their building their nests, clapper rails. Okay, do they migrate every year? Clapper rails. See this. When we talk about clapper rails, we say they are found year round. Year round means throughout the year along the Atlantic and Gulf coasts. That means they do not migrate every year from there. So this becomes false right away and I eliminate it. Okay. Then because we are talking about clapper rails, let's also see how they build their nests. They often build nests in areas with particularly tall vegetation to hide them from predators, not to protect them from flooding. So even that option becomes false. The last one. Then also right here I find this information also. Water levels in tidal marshes change daily. So they don't change only when there are storms, they change daily. So through this information, I am able to eliminate option A, okay, option D, and this option also, only when there are storms. Anyway, you should have been suspicious of this because it has an extreme word only. C is going to be the answer, but let's see where it is mentioned in the passage, the population growth, right? So, in the beginning, when they talk about recording things, uh, they've been able to estimate the distributions of several species, right? We've also plotted trends in their abundance. We've plotted trends in their abundance. What is abundance? Their number, right? Trends in their number. That means how many were there in, let's say, the year 2020, how many were there in 2021. So we are talking about population growth here. Yes. So this can be inferred and therefore this is the answer. C.